those who can make you believe absurdities, can make you commit atrocities.
Welcome to Metal Matters, a Gimme Radio podcast. I'm your host, Mike Hill, and I'll be leading you on this adventure. We'll be getting into deep discussions about classic records, profiles on up-and-coming bands, and interviews with your favorite artists. You can check out new episodes every week, so be sure to subscribe and never miss out. If you're a fan of black metal, and you're not a fan of Rotting Christ, you're slipping. Over 3 decades, 14 records, and countless live shows, they're definitely the real deal. The band was formed in 1987 by vocalist and guitarist Sakis Tolis and his brother, Temis Tolis, who coincidentally plays drums on the records. Sakis joins us for this action-packed episode. Their new record, Heretic, is out on Season of Mist, so check it out. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. If you dig the show, please share it, subscribe, and tell all of your friends. Congratulations on the new record. I spent some time listening to it, and like all of your other records, I think it's great. And, congratulations on that. And one of the questions I have is, I can obviously hear the death and black metal influences, but I also hear, a lot of gothic and industrial stuff in there. Are you a fan of that? Does that stuff influence your writing at all?
Not that much, I can't say. I'm not especially industrial, not at all, actually. But on the other hand, definitely you can listen some influences, metal, atmospheric, dark influences. As always, this is actually what we are doing with Rotting Christ. Every album is a little bit different. It's unique, and we are inspired from musics, from favorite music styles. Like, for instance, first of all, we are metalheads.
Yeah.
So that means that we listen except black metal, dark metal, heavy metal, atmospheric metal, everything that is soulful.
Actually, since before we get into the record, I was just, the band has been around for over 3 decades. And, let's just, for the listeners out there, let me just review a couple things. Okay. 1986, Master of Puppets came out. Also, Rain and Blood. The first Danzig record came out in 1988, and Riding Christ started in 1987. So you guys...
let's say 88.
88? Okay.
Okay, let's do that, 88, yes.
Okay, so, that's basically the environment that your record came out in. Pretty much black metal and death metal, for that matter, were pretty much in its formative stages, very, very much before that, those movements really started. So what kind of stuff? I know that you guys had a grind sort of influence in the beginning.
Yeah.
So, we had Bathory, we had Venom, we had Celtic Frost, we had that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So what really informed you guys earlier on?
We were influenced by first generation black metal bands like Bathory, Celtic Frost, Hellhammer, even Possessed, Morbid Angel. That were our main influences back in the day, especially Bathory and Venom were the bands that made me do it. We didn't have any big goals, and that was the spirit back in the days. Just I would like to form a band to sound like our idols, and maybe one day we'll play one show. After 3 decades, after more than 30 years, I feel like we have released we have released 14 albums.
Yeah.
I've played more than 1,500 shows. Definitely, we have fulfilled our dream. But this is not the spirit. For us, the spirit is to be always here and fight till the last day. We really want to die in the States. We really want to do that until the end of our life. As long as we are in a good health, we keep on going and shouting non-fucking Serbian.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Because, these days a lot of people have, these ideas about, their career and all this other stuff. And that stuff's important. But I think that
this is the spirit nowadays. This is something that I really don't like, actually. The new kids are very talented, more talented, better players like us. It's not like us, much more better players. But they miss something. This is the feeling. This is the spirit. When you form a band and you want to achieve everything in 5 years or something, then 99% you're gonna fail. So this is something that we want to pass as a band. We are, I can't say an old band right now, but try to pass to the new generation, the newcomers in the scene, that metal is not for fun. It's something very serious, and you must take it very serious. So,
and also,
if you want to do that, do that well.
And also it's more of a lifestyle. I think more so than most other genres of music. Metalheads embrace a certain lifestyle. You know what I mean? Going to shows, going to festivals, buying records, wearing T-shirts, all that sort of stuff.
You know something? Do you know what is magic for metal?
What's that?
I have played all around the world. I have played in every territory you can imagine. I have played really everywhere, from Siberia to Ecuador. Do you know what I see?
What's that?
The people, metalheads, were the same. It's unbelievable. This is magic. This is magic. Everywhere you go, despite the countries, despite the laws they have there, metalheads are the same, which is for me something majestic.
I'll have to agree with that. That's it's always very comforting to see people that you can relate to when you travel abroad. So with respect to Greece, there's other Greek black metal bands. We got Ravencult, Macabre Omen. Why do you think black metal? Why did it get a foothold in Greece? Because you think of black metal, you think of Norway, maybe Sweden, that sort of thing.
But Greece too. We are very proud.
I do. I think of Greece too.
Yeah. Yes, I think Greece too. Actually, don't forget that we have started a really, let's say, strong scene back in the early 90s. Bands like Rotten Christ, like Thou Art Lord, like Varathron, like Necromantia. All those bands, we built something very, very strong scene that really surprised the people, because we're just one country, little country in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Mediterranean, and like how these guys could create something unique. We did that. And I don't know what was the reason, but we did that. And we are very proud that this spirit is still alive nowadays. We see newcomers, we see new bands that really keep the spirit. And I'm very proud that all these bands come from my hometown. And I feel really like, all right, I did something.
Yeah, the Mediterranean has a pretty heavy Roman Catholic vibe, at the Vatican and all that. And now, black metal typically has a, anti-Christian, sort of blasphemous, possibly a pagan. How it's up. So now, being situated amongst the seat of the Roman Catholic religion, has that actually, influenced you guys? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes. Maybe that was the reason. Yes. Yes.
Now, Greece has a rich, pagan history, and is, I'm assuming that. I mean, I've read your lyrics and all that, and actually, even more ancient. There's the religion of Zoroaster, Zoroastrianism, which is probably, I think, is like one of the oldest still active religions. And,
yes, this comes more from Mesopotamia, more from the Middle East nowadays.
Yeah.
Yes, Zoroastrian, yeah.
So now all of these sort of, do you embrace that? Do you like really, like that culture, is that something that's very much?
I don't follow this culture actually, but I'm really searching for this. I mean, I'm really into mythologies, into cultures, into religions. Even if I don't believe, this attracts me.
Right.
This open some windows, some doors in my heart, in my soul. And so I'm really looking for all these occult things in my life. There is big knowledge there. There is big knowledge there that we, the people, sometimes forget, especially the modern people. We are trapped, in this, let's say, digital era. So we forget about the real knowledge and the real touch with the nature sometimes. So I really try to be as human as possible. So, okay, sometimes I fail, like everyone, but I try, and I'm very lucky that I have the biggest weapon with me, which is my music.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great way of getting your ideas out to people, and sort of inspiring others too to, follow similar paths, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm also quite interested in ancient religions and, the occult and all that sort of business. And, several different, not any one particular ideology, but I think that there's a lot to be learned from multiple cultures,
Multiple cultures, yes, exactly.
Do you think that with the rise of Christianity, that they have
Christianity
sort
is
of...
not free. No, Christianity, since I remember myself, since I was a kid in school, I felt pressed up from Christianity. I feel like you must do that. Lack of freedom, man. So it has nothing to do with my character and what I have chosen in my life.
Yeah, I grew up, my background is Italian and Irish, so I grew up with a
Really?
very strong Roman Catholic upbringing. And
You see, yes.
yeah, I always remember just being afraid all the time. Just
sometimes, yeah, me either.
Yeah, just guilty, feeling like I'm doing something wrong.
Always feel guilty. Yes, always feel guilty, man. It's not good. Not only about Christianity, about Muslims, everything, all these, let's say, Middle East religions, including, of course, Christianity, because this is where it comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
Make people feel guilty, make people to be afraid. This is something that I didn't want to follow.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that even as a kid, my grandmother was from Italy. She had all these religious statues in the, in the house.
Of course. Always
and it was terrifying, terrifying seeing Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I think that fear, also when I first started, I first heard Slayer and Metallica and, Black Sabbath.
Oh yeah.
There was definitely like a freedom associated with that kind of music,
Oh yeah.
So on to the record. Was there anything different you guys did this time around? It's still basically you and your brother, I believe, writing all the material. Is that correct?
Yeah. Actually, I do compose all the stuff. My brother plays the drums, of course, and the rest of the guys help very much in the live performance. On the other hand, we recorded like we always do in the same studio here in Athens. We went to Sweden, and we mixed that with Jens Borken, the guy that's doing Amon Amarth, Creator, Opeth, and all these bands. And that was a very long procedure, actually, especially to compose. This is the album number 14, so you can imagine how difficult it was for us. For me to find something new. I think that I was wondering who is going to pay a seat about the band that's releasing the album number 14. So I had to do something different for the composition process. I have to read first and then to write music. So I read about all those heretics, about the very important sayings during the history of time, and that influenced me very much. Just realized after 46 years old that I'm quite heretic. The path I have chosen, everything I have done in my life, it was quite against the flow. So I could call myself heretic. So that's all those sayings, all these big authors, writers, poets influenced me very much to start writing about this book, about this album. Sorry.
No, it's an interesting slip when you said book because I feel like as like you definitely spend a lot of time on the lyrics. I mean, it's clear, and there's references, all sorts of literary references, you have Milton, Nietzsche,
For
all,
instance, you can say I'm always influenced about Friedrich Nietzsche. The word itself is the will to power and nothing else. And you yourself are the will to power and nothing else. Quotes like this made me do that.
yeah. Are there any favorite songs on the record that you have?
I can't say that. I feel every song like my kid, so I do compose them. Everything, everything represent. Every song is something different. I put all my energy there, so I really cannot choose any song.
So in black metal, there's like this in general with other black metal bands. There's like this heavy satanic sort of thing, and I definitely don't peg Rotting Christ as a satanic band. But however, as recent as last year, you guys got into a little bit of trouble in Georgia over the name of the band and all that sort of stuff.
In Russia too, in Georgia too, in South Africa too. Yes, we very often face problem with our name. People, nations, countries are not that free. They are not mature anymore. I don't know what's going on, but I have the feeling that humanity is going step back. I don't know.
Well, I definitely feel that in this country that our section of humanity is going a step back with just a lot of the repressed, like even like on the quote unquote liberal people in this country, they have like a very shut down sort of repressed idea about things.
Yes, I have this feeling. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's almost like there's an intellectual dark ages coming.
You have the same feeling too?
I do. One of the things...
Yes, I do too, man. And I really worry about this. I mean, we have been fighting since late 80s about freedom of speech, and just to realize the last 2 or 3 years, people are getting scared again. Don't know what's going on. I mean...
Well,
anyway,
what's interesting?
We'll be here. Always front line in the battlefield. Always front line in the battlefield. Fighting, for freedom until the end of our life, for sure.
Yeah, one of the interesting things here, at least in the United States, is that this repression of the freedom to speak your mind is not coming from the government. It's actually coming from people who just don't like what you say, and they're making everyone has to apologize, and people are being fired from their jobs, and shows are being... Oh, yeah. Actually, there's a big thing going on here where all you have to do these days, it appears to me, is say something that's unpopular, and people can get you fired, essentially. And, that's...
Simply as that?
Yeah. If there's enough people that if the employer wants to believe you, then that's what happens. There's all sorts of news reports about people losing their jobs, like because people don't have a contrary opinion to them, and it's really sad because back in the 80s, and before that, we had artists like Lenny Bruce who his life he lost his life basically just over obscenity charges and things like that, and all of that work and effort that these people put into freedom of speech is now being given away, is now being undermined by people with opinions and things like that. And I agree, everyone should have an opinion, but all opinions, I think, should be welcome instead of the one that seems to be the flavor of the day.
You live in a country that supports this. What about other countries like Russia, like Georgia? Had the troubles. Things there are much worse. Believe me.
Oh yeah. That's.
Oh yeah. We will put in the jail just for 1 day. Just didn't have any charges. Don't know why. Still, we're looking at the reason, but it was not a good experience at all.
That's I'm very much aware of that, and I think that if we don't really pay attention, that might be the fate of this country as well. Is that eventually, no one's you can't really say what you want to say anymore, and I think that if we aren't vigilant about that, it's sort of around the corner.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So the idea of good and evil seems to be a theme on the record, and do you have any thoughts on that as far as like the battle of good and evil, and because there's several different songs here that seem to be addressing that.
Yes, always there is this eternal fight between good and evil, between heaven and hell, and we do answer on this album with quotes, not from our quotes, from quotes and sayings from people, heretic people during the history of time. For instance, blessed are the destroyers of false hope, for they are the true messiahs. Cursed are the god adorers, for they shall be swarms here. This is something that Adon LaVey said. Or for instance, I do not believe in the creed professed by the church, by any church that I know. My own mind is my own church. This is the answer for good and evil. There is always an eternal fight over there. It will always exist. You just see in a different way what is good and what is bad.
So in general, it seems that organized religion is not really something that you're support of, and that it's more of a personal approach to it.
Something even for Christianity. Sometimes I read about Christianity as philosophy or something, but when it comes as organized religion, then they will definitely fight me against it. It's very sad when someone just exploits someone else's insecureness, the phobias of the people, by creating some gods or something. We want to believe that we are not this kind of people, this kind of person. So we try to fight this.
I think where we went wrong as a race or as a people is that with this monotheistic sort of system that we have, where
exactly, yeah, it's very fascistic. This monotheistic religion system is very, let's say, fascistic.
Yeah, because you're not allowing anyone to interpret things the way they want to.
Yes.
And
ancient Greeks, for instance, they had 12 gods.
Yeah.
Which is what more, opportunity to act more free. 2,500 years before we were more free than nowadays. That's insane.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things I often, think about too, is how, the Greek gods were really just sort of reflections of humans, of people, and they embodied different characteristics of humans. And, but there wasn't any of the judgment that the Christian sort of ideology sort of put forth. There wasn't this like, sin or 10 commandments or any of this other stuff, rules to live by and all this other way to suppress people.
When we say Christians, I'm not only referred about Christians. I'm referred about all Middle East religions. All these religions, Muslims, Christians, Hebrew, and came from the same part of the world. From Middle East.
Yeah, it all grew from there. It's clear.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So, do you guys have any plans on coming back to the States anytime soon for when the record comes out?
Of course. This is our main goal. After releasing the album, this is our main goal, to be back in the States, because we really enjoyed being there. It's on the compliment, definitely. Feel like, all right, it's a good place to tour. Okay, sometimes, not all territories, but some big cities. I feel like we really enjoy the shows and we really enjoy the people.
The last time you were here was on the tour at Mayhem. Was that correct? I think that was
yes.
Yeah, and Revenge might have been on that too.
No, Vatain.
That's right. It was what? Yes, that's right. Yeah, I was trying to get confused. I feel like Mayhem's over here quite a bit.
That was the first part of the tour.
Yes.
Revenge played the first part of the tour, the first leg of the tour.
Yeah, I imagine. Was there any controversy on that tour? Like, did anyone, pick at the show, or any upset, religious people sort of? I imagine it's a tour like that.
Sometimes. Yeah. So it's always like this. But we enjoy this. This is the way we are on the road. Play our music. Yes. As long as we avoid any very crazy people. I mean, sometimes people are getting crazy. You just get a gun and start, you know.
Have you guys experienced any of that? Any violence or,
No, violence, no. Almost, yes. But not exactly violence like guns or something.
Because, in the United States, people tend to like to shoot guns and stuff,
Oh, yeah, I see. I see it from the news, man. What's wrong with you guys?
I sometimes it's funny because, I've been out of the country a lot, you know what I mean? And I've been to Europe, I've been to Greece, I've been to, a lot of different places. And when I come back and I talk to people who don't really travel, I try to explain to them that, the United States are a bunch of, psychopaths with the amount of guns and shootings and all this other stuff. And even Canada, which is like literally from where I am, Canada is like possibly maybe an 8-hour drive from here. It's a completely different sort of place. Like there isn't the levels of violence and all that stuff up there. And so I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe it's the cowboy mentality that we had, back in the...
Maybe, yes. Yeah. Cowboy mentality. Unbelievable. Yeah, all right. Maybe, yes, you're right.
I think I am on this one at least.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for taking time and talking to me. And, I'm going to be looking forward to seeing you guys back out on the road in the States.
All right. As long as we are back in the States, it will be nice to meet you and sharing a couple of beers.
Oh yeah.
And of course, sharing the same precious music for us. It's we are, first of all, we are fans, and then we are artists. We enjoy to go to the shows. We enjoy to buy vinyls. We enjoy to be a part of the scene. So we always enjoy to meet people like you, people that keep the spirit alive. So until next time, keep the spirit alive and always non-serviam.
You've been listening to Metal Matters, a Gimme Radio podcast. We'll be back next week, so be sure to subscribe and never miss out. Also, be sure to check out Gimme Radio via web, iOS, or Android for one of the best metal communities in the world, exclusive interviews and merch, and so much more.